Right. That was weird. Hi, everybody. How are you? I didn't bring the romper room thing, but let's see who's here really quickly. There's Frank. There's Donna. There's Frank. There's Brian. There's Frank. I think Frank's here. There's Chuck. There's John. Hello, Blaine. Do I know you, Blaine? Don't know why I'm asking that. There's Roger. There's Frank. Frank's here. Yeah, who else? Hello, Andrew. Right. Okay. I know I'm running a tiny bit behind, so why don't we go ahead and get started, and then we can talk after. Or we can talk now, but we can talk after. Stand by if you would, please. Wait, let me make sure. Yes, I am. Okay, here we go. Groovy to the AirPods Max. It is Tuesday, the 8th of December, 2020, and this is macOS Ken Live. Hey, everybody, it's Ken Ray. Look, there he is. Or listen, there he is. Thanking you for joining him, by which I mean me, on this edition of macOS Ken Live. It's a thing we do every Monday through Friday, 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern. I will get that right one day. It'll just roll off the tongue. Talking about a big topic in Apple News. And the big topic in Apple News today, or at least the one that's got my attention, is AirPods Max, or as I like to call them, Apple's fancy schmancy over-the-ear headphones that can be yours, except no, they can't. We'll talk about that in a moment. Second half of the show, honestly, is going to be just reaction to the AirPods Max. Mine, a couple of analysts, one listener wrote into me to say something, and then something I saw on Twitter. And of course, I would love to hear your reaction as well, except I can't right now because I'm doing a show. I'm really sorry. I wish I could. First half of the show, though, let's just go over it. We had heard earlier this week, actually, I guess it was last week, there was a memo that went around to Apple service providers saying, listen, something's coming on Tuesday morning. Going to be 5:30 on the West Coast. And we're not going to tell you what it is, but we will tell you there is an Apple Care part of it, and there is like a SKU for it. So it's going to be a thing, and it's going to be a thing that's going to be serviced, but we're not telling you anything else. And everybody said, well, obviously then that's tiles. Not tiles, I'm sorry, AirTags. Or obviously that's a new Apple TV. And then all of a sudden on Monday, one of the things that had always been thought was that it might be the fancy schmancy over-the-ear headphones that Apple's been rumored to be making for the year, most of this year, I think. And then Monday afternoon, Monday evening, that came on as the odds-on favorite. That's the thing they were going to introduce. The AirPods Studio, they said, except they said AirPods Max. They take the design cues from existing Apple products and use several internal sensors and microphones to deliver computational audio features. What kinds of sensors, you may wonder? Well, there's an optical sensor, a position sensor, a case detect sensor, an accelerometer in each ear cup, and a gyroscope in one of the ear cups. There are also 9 microphones. One is devoted exclusively to voice pickup, while the other 8 are used for active noise cancellation. It's weird to me to think about headphones having microphones, right? Because headphones are for you to listen to, not for listening, except, they do a bunch of stuff. Like they have this one thing, this transparency mode, which I love. What's funny is the very first time I remember anything like transparency mode, my friend Tamara in high school, we didn't dress out for gym that day. We didn't skip class. We just didn't participate because you could do that. And so she was sitting there listening to a Walkman, which I'm pretty sure she wasn't supposed to have on school grounds, but who cares? I mean, we're already scofflaws because we're not dressing out. And she was listening to something, and I, said, there was something unusual about her Walkman. And it turns out it had a button on the side of it where she could push it and she could both listen to music and hear what somebody was saying to her. Ooh. And now 30 some odd years, we have that in a pair of headphones from Apple. I like the transparency mode idea, although it's still kind of a pain, right? I mean, the whole, I have to push a button to hear what somebody's saying or to hear something happening in the room or whatever. It's fine. It's neat. That's one of the reasons it's got microphones. So there. Built-in sensors can also be used to detect when and how the headphones are being worn, driving some convenience features like automatically pausing the music playback when you lift one of the ear cups. I don't know about you, but I hate that one. My AirPods do that as well. Like when I take one out to hear something, whatever I'm listening to stops, which I don't necessarily want to have happen. I'm given to understand that there is actually a setting where I can stop that happening with my AirPods, but I haven't done it yet. Anyway, they've also got the spatial audio, which is taking the world by storm, and the AirPods Pro. Is that what they're called now? I can't remember. That's a thing where if you're looking at your iPad and you turn your head, one direction or another, the ear that's closest to where the iPad would be actually sort of tracks it as if you're listening. I can't really explain it. Everybody tells me that it confuses them. The people I know who have it and use it, the first few times they use it, they say they assume that their AirPod or their whatever they're listening to, their television, their Mac, their iPad is actually playing through the speaker, and they've messed up and forgotten to turn that on. So this has that, which is great, and it sounds like I'm making fun of it, and I'm not. One of the sensors I mentioned is a case detector, case detect sensor rather, because it comes with a smart case, according to Apple. Think of it kind of like the AirPods case, but much bigger. Of course, it protects the AirPods Max, which you want it to do. It also puts it into a low powered sleep mode. So I guess that's almost like the instant on thing that they were talking about for the M1 Max, where instead of having to power it on, it just kind of, wakes up and is ready. And of course, the big thing is you can charge it while it's in the case. There's a lightning port, and you can use a lightning to USB-C cable, which Apple is including. I don't know whether they're including the wall wart. I kind of doubt it, but I don't know for certain. So that's a thing that does. As far as how it's going to run, 20 hours of battery life according to Apple, and that is with the active noise cancellation and with the spatial audio enabled. The thing that's most interesting to me is if you charge it for 5 minutes, you get another hour and a half worth of playback. Now, I don't know if that is with the spatial audio and the active noise cancellation running as well, but 5 minutes gives you an hour and a half of use. It's kind of awesome. As far as the design, the controls are very much Apple. One button and one digital crown, which looks a whole lot like the digital crown on your Apple Watch, except you reach up and do that. Also kind of makes you look like Lobot. You know who Lobot is? He was the bald guy who helped Lando Calrissian in Cloud City. It's a tiny bit like that. Maybe that's what we're moving towards. I don't know. Piece from Ars Technica says the crown can be used to adjust the volume, skip forward or backward, answer incoming calls, or invoke Apple's personal digital assistant. Again, design-wise, they come in muted colors, I would say. There are 5 of them. There is space gray, silver, green, sky blue, and pink. Orders went live this morning, Tuesday, the 8th of December. They went live for delivery on the 15th of December, and kiss that goodbye because they're gone. They're all gone. So I read an article in Apple Insider about 2 hours ago that said delivery times for the green, the sky pink, green, the sky blue, and the pink had already slipped to 12 to 14 weeks because the headline said that some of them were out in the 2021 delivery times. Well, at that point, most of them are out to 2021. The 2 that I saw about an hour and 15 minutes ago that you could still get this year, and you can only technically get them this year, the space gray and the silver could be yours if you ordered them when I saw that between the 31st of December and the 8th of January, but now you only get that for the silver. And I'm guessing by the time we're done here, that's not going to be the case either. About 15 minutes before I came on here, space gray had also slipped to 12 to 14 weeks. You could still get the silver from the 31st of December through the 8th of January, except I'm betting you can't. I think I skipped over the price, by the way. They're sold out at $549 a pair. $549 a pair. And you can't get them. There are a number of things I wonder about that. Did the colors go first because people were craving color? Did the colors go first because people, you know, because Apple figured black and white would be the most popular? I don't know. I don't know how that went. We won't know how that went ever. Even on the next earnings call, all we're going to hear is we've been really pleased with the popularity of AirPods Max. That's probably all they're going to say. The other thing I do wonder is 12 to 14 weeks. That feels like a long time. This could be the kind of thing where when I got my first Apple Watch, I think I was a tiny bit late ordering it. I might have waited a day or something, which was stupid because then it told me that it was going to be an extra 3 weeks before I got my watch. And then right before the watches were released, I got an update saying that I would get my watch on launch day. And so my Apple Watch came the day that it was released, even though I ordered late and my delivery time had been listed as late. I don't think people who order them today have any chance of getting them, or order them from this point on, have any chance of getting these things, the AirPods Max, by the 15th of December. 2.5 months, though. Is that right? Am I doing that math right? No, 3.5 months. You're talking about between 3.5 months now to wait for these things. It doesn't tell us anything, though, unfortunately. It doesn't tell us if that's because demand is off the charts or because production has been low. Maybe Apple ran a short run because they didn't know if people would actually buy $550 headphones, excuse me, AirPods. I don't know. I saw it, and the whole thing was like, well, those are probably nice, and I don't really care. And then I saw the Journey into Sound. This is the short video that Apple has made to promote it. And now I want these things. I think I want them because, first of all, because I can't have them. Second, because I'm not going to spend the money on them. And third, because their video is absolutely fantastic. And, given the amount of money that they spend and the marketing acumen that they have, the video should be fantastic. I did not expect the video to make me want them. So you can see that on YouTube if you want to. I would say, though, watch at your own peril, because even if right now you're scoffing at these things, you may see that video and you may think that well, you can live without them, and you will know that you can live without them, but you're going to want them because they, I don't know, something about the whole thing works. I think it's all the different technologies going into it as well, because I don't think they're particularly pretty. Nah, we can talk about that in a moment. I will tell you one more thing really quickly, one more nuts and bolts part of it. Of course, the battery doesn't come out. You have to get the battery replaced by Apple. And if that happens outside of the warranty, it's going to cost you $79. What's amazing to me is how things like that just don't seem that bad anymore. $79 to replace the battery. You know what it used to cost to replace a battery? However much the battery cost and the 2 minutes that it took you to do that. And now they say your $549 headphones are eventually going to die, and to give them life again, it's going to cost you $79. You say, well, that's fair. It's not fair. It's ridiculous. Except it's fair because it's what the market will bear. What's amazing to me, let's do that part in a second. I think that's all the parts that we need to talk about as far as that is the information that Apple put out and that a couple of other places have put out about the AirPods Max. We'll get more into reaction stuff and assessing the cost in a moment. First, I want to remind you about another show that I do. In a few minutes this week, Mac Voices host Chuck Joyner is with us all week long. Today, we are talking about Apple services. I was curious which ones he was into, what he thinks of the Apple bundle thing, so we kick those things back and forth. Chuck's a great guy, a lot of fun to talk to, and I would love it if you would check that out and then check out all the other episodes as well. That show, that's kind of funny. macOS Ken turns 15 in January, and in a few minutes turns 1 in January. So that show's been going for a while now. We're up to week number 46. So I took a week or two off, so plenty of stuff to check out there if you would like. Just, short form, fun conversations about Apple stuff, technology stuff, mostly. In a few minutes is the name of the show. You can find it either at macosken.com. You can find it on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/kenray, for those of you listening to the audio podcast and not on the YouTube channel right now, because otherwise that's redundant. Or, of course, you can look for In a Few Minutes, wherever you get podcasts. Right, let's talk about prices. Are these things too expensive? The AirPods Max. The AirPods Max are $549. The question is, are they too expensive? The answer is yes, unless you don't think so. If you want a pair of these things and you got $549, I would say they are priced perfectly for you. Ronald wrote to me saying that they're way too expensive. Just think what else you and I could buy with that price, he said. A 70-inch ultra high-def HD TV. That $549 gets you about 40% of the way to a MacBook Pro, and it gets you more than halfway to a MacBook Air. I could go on, he says, and he's right. He could go on. That, to me, is the kind of thing that you can absolutely do with somebody you know, or somebody, you know, with whom you're friendly. Ronald and I have been emailing off and on for years. Plus, you know, I'm in his head every day, same as I am with yours. If you want to write to me and say, you know what else you could get, that's fine. Would that get me an emu? I don't need an emu. I'm not even 100% certain what an emu is, but would $549 get me an emu? If you want to do that with friends, that's fine. There was a CNET piece that listed everything you could get instead of the $549 AirPods Max, and that was stupid. That's clickbait. CNET is just doing clickbait at that point, because you can take any dollar amount and say, this thing costs $1. Do you know what you could get for $1 instead of that thing? These other things. Are they too expensive? Depends on what you think they're trying to do. Ben Beharan had a piece highlighted in Philip Elmer DeWitt's Apple 3.0, where he kind of took us through the process of what he was thinking around these in about a paragraph. He said when he first heard that these were coming out, he thought, well, that's not true, because these are obviously holiday gifts. And why is Apple going to come out so close to Christmas with this obvious holiday gift? And then he heard how high-end they were going to be, and he said, okay, never mind. Time of year you put these out doesn't matter, because this is not targeting, you know, in the stocking or under a tree. This is targeting a high-end creative type, an audiophile. And so he thinks for those people, $549 is not bad, because, where did he say it? Audiophiles would know it's hard to get a great pair of studio headphones for less than $500, and some of the top ones used by DJs and producers can cost over $2,000. But they're Bluetooth. That's actually, I mean, when you're talking about those people, when you're talking about DJs, those people, when you're talking about that level of creative, it's hard for me to see them using Bluetooth. And I am not that level of creative, but I have tried editing my podcast before using my AirPods. Granted, they're not AirPods Pro, and granted, they're not AirPods Max, and maybe they've done something about that lag. Maybe they've done something about that offset, but if you're trying to match a beat, if you're trying to, you know, keep an ear on what's going on with the crowd, if you're actually trying to mix a song or something like that, there is an almost imperceptible lag between what's happening on the screen and what's happening on my AirPods, but it's only almost imperceptible. I can do it, but it drives me insane because I'm used to it being much quicker. That's the reason I use these things. That's the reason I use the wired earphones that I use every day for everything that I do as far as production. Going out for a walk, maybe walking around the house and not wanting to disturb somebody else, I will then use my AirPods because that's not time sensitive. And it's crazy to think that an audio production that you're doing that's going to go out later would be time sensitive. The time I'm talking about, though, is that half a second between. That said, I have not tried the AirPods Max. Maybe I will, and maybe I will find that is gone. That lag, that is. And by the way, I'm not going to be trying the AirPods Max because I'd have to go to a store and put them on my head, and somebody else might have put them on their head, and we don't have a vaccine yet. And also, I'm in touch with the fact that that video looks so good that it's made to make me want one. It's hard for me to imagine $550 on a pair of wireless headphones that are going to make me actually want them. Do you know what else you could buy for Gene Munster at Loop Ventures. Sorry, he being Philip Elmer DeWitt. He has this thing that he does where he says, "Here's what the analysts are saying." Right before I went on to record, so far only two analysts have said anything, at least that he's caught. They were Ben Beharan and Gene Munster. Munster's idea is interesting. Apple rounded out an improbably strong year of product releases with the announcement of AirPods Max and Apple Fitness Plus availability. Forgot to tell you about that. We'll get to it in a minute. While individually these products won't move the needle, they collectively strengthen the fabric of the company's hardware, software, and services integration. Given the price and design, we expect AirPod Max to quickly become a status symbol for the people who are quick enough to get them. I don't want to try them on because I don't want to like them. Truly. I don't hate them in principle because the people who are upset that they cost so much money, the thing that I always wonder is, are you also upset that there are Maseratis? Are you also upset that there are Porsches? Are you also upset that there are vans that you can't afford? I don't mean to say that, the performance of the AirPod Max is going to be the same as a Maserati. I have no idea. I haven't tried them on. I think I've mentioned that a time or two. Nobody has. They're not out yet. Some stuff is more expensive, and we might all want all of those things, but some stuff is more expensive. I'm reminded of the Pro XDR display that Apple made cost something like $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. I can't remember how much it cost. It's an obscene amount of money. You could get 4 or 5 or 6 MacBook Airs for the price that that thing cost. It's ridiculous. But I know people who are angry about it, and they were angry about the $1,000 stand. And why? You're not required to buy it. It's okay if that's not how you want to spend your money. And as much of a bummer as it might be that you want to spend that money but don't have it, that's okay too, because there's a Tiffany store that I can afford nothing in. There are Cartier watches that I can't afford. I mean, there are all kinds of things that cost more. I don't understand why those things make us angry necessarily. If all of a sudden all of the AirPods were going to be $500, $600, $700, that's maybe a reason to get angry. The other thing that's really interesting to me is how $550, it's more than I'm going to spend, but we're used to now AirPods that cost $250, right? That's what the AirPods Pro cost, I think. And no, I haven't bought any. I got a pair as a gift one time. I anticipate replacing those with a pair of AirPods Pro at some point. And having used the AirPods, that price doesn't seem exorbitant to me. Every time this stuff gets moved a little bit, then suddenly the palatable price, higher prices get more palatable. Apple introduced the iPhone 10 at $1,000, I think, or $1,100. I can't remember. And suddenly, when they come out with a $799 phone, and you're like, well, that's not bad. It's only $799. It's not like I'm spending $1,000. I'm only spending almost $1,000. I said I personally don't want to try them on because I don't want to know how much better they are until I'm actually thinking about spending that kind of money. Dave Hamilton over at the Mac Observer and Backbeat Media and Mac Geek Gab, Dave. Or if you don't, you can find Dave. Dave told me years ago that truly wireless earbuds were a game changer. Now, at the time, I was using a pair of Bluetooth headphones that had a wire that went around the back, and I can't even remember anymore. I think maybe a hard plastic arch that kept them together, maybe. And I thought I had wireless headphones, and they were pretty good. And Dave said, no, when you've got the two, one on each side, with no wire at all, it's a complete game changer. And then I received those AirPods as a gift, and he's right. They're a complete game changer. It's possible that these things that Apple introduced today are a complete game changer, and I don't want to know because I don't want to put up that kind of stakes to play the game. The one thing I do wonder is, will this technology find its way into lower priced products from Apple? How much of this technology is already in Beats? Because Beats isn't going anywhere. I know that was the idea earlier this year, that Apple would introduce its own Apple branded over-the-ear headphones and start to phase out the Beats brand. I guess maybe Apple could do that at some point. There's no indication they're doing that today. I don't understand why they would, because the Beats brand just prints money. The Beats brand is a status symbol already for some people. Why try to replace one status symbol that people already see as a status symbol with another one that they don't yet? The other thing that's really interesting to me, when I say branded, there's no branding on the AirPods Pro or AirPods Max. There's no branding at all. There's a big, place right there where they could put a logo right on the side of the earphone, right where they put the Beats logo on all the Beats headphones. And what you got here is just blank. I mean, it's the color. That's it. And part of that is kind of Apple's design acumen, but look on the back of I say on the back of every iPhone, but it occurs to me I don't remember what's on the back of the iPhone 12. I know my iPhone 11 has the Apple logo. I know every MacBook, MacBook Air, MacBook Pro, the Mac Mini, even the Apple TV, for crying out loud, has the Apple logo on it. There's no Apple logo on the headphones. Maybe they thought it would look garish. It seems to me there are ways that you could do it subtly. It's really surprising to me that they have these two billboards that are going to be on the sides of people's heads, and they just left them blank. What's cool, though, is it'll make you feel great about putting a sticker on them. Anyway, those are initial thoughts on the AirPods Max. I would love to hear what you think about them as well. There are a few ways that you can let me know. Hopefully, you will leave a comment on this video, while you're liking this video and sharing this video and subscribing to this channel, maybe, because, we could have some fun. Other thing you can do is email me, info@macosken.com, info, info@macosken.com. If you're watching this replay later or listening to the audio podcast later, I'll remind you, we do this Monday through Friday, 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern, other times, other places. There are people hanging out in the chat room, and I'm about to go talk to them as soon as I'm done with this portion of the event. All kinds of stuff you're missing by not being here live. It's okay, because, it's okay. But if you ever find yourself at this time wondering, hey, what can I do? Come hang out with a bunch of geeks. 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern, Monday through Friday afternoon at youtube.com/KenRay. We've got macOS Ken kicking off tomorrow again. We've got In a Few Minutes tomorrow. And we got this tomorrow afternoon. Talk to you soon. I still don't know why I stay quiet there, because I'm going to edit that out. Hey, will you guys excuse me for like 3 seconds? I'm not even going to go anywhere. I'm just going to go over here because there we go. Stupidly left my coffee over there and stupidly banged it on the desk. Right. Hi, everybody. Hey, people are saying hi to Web Bixby. That means Web Bixby is here. All right. I'm curious if everybody here is hating them. It's interesting because I think a lot of people hate them because they hate them, and a lot of people hate them because they want them and can't have them. Oh, see, John did a roll call, but I missed it again. Roger says he doesn't do AirPods because Bluetooth is poor for audio. Again, though, the convenience. Hey, Laura's here. What's going on? Paul's here. Hello, Paul. Donna's talking to Chuck. Hopefully Chuck is answering Donna. Oh, Matthew came in because he was watching yesterday's show. Hey, Matthew. Where are we? Okay, Andrew says he uses transparency mode all the time on AirPods Pro. His wife wants to be able to talk to him. does she still though? I don't mean does she still want to talk to you? I mean, does she still talk to you even when you have the headphones in? Because I know you can indicate that you can hear her, but I don't know. I like the idea of transparency mode. I honestly did not realize they had it in AirPods Pro. It's not surprising. Ivan wants to know what's he going to do with his Beats Studio and his AirPods Pro. Zzz. I only have 2 ears. Yeah, but here's the thing. You listen to one of them for 20 hours. When they die, you go to charge them, and then you start listening to the other one. You can just rotate through every few days. Chuck Joyner was talking on this week's in a few minutes about the number of Macs he has. I have a similar question. Then again, I was thinking earlier today, and this may be something, this has nothing to do with what we were talking about. The convenience of having my Mac be a MacBook Pro being a portable, I wonder if I've actually diminished the rest of my quality of life. Should I have a desktop and that's where I work? Because right now I can work anywhere, which is great, but that means I work anywhere, which means no place is actually a respite. Respite? I think that's the word I'm looking for. Frank says 300 to 350 for audiophile headphones. Okay. Where else are we? Doing the product launch like Kickstarter. That's kind of funny. Yeah, I'll tell you honestly, who said that? Matthew said that. I'll tell you honestly, we don't know if it's a demand is so high or Apple didn't make, very many of them. Whatever the case, it looks awesome. It looks awesome for Apple. If all of a sudden it's like, wow, it's going to take me 3.5 months to get those, they must be good. It'll be weird if that wait stays that long. Then again, man, AirPods took forever to catch up to demand, didn't they? Supply demand balance was way off those for a very long time. Thanks, Brian. Brian says he heard the End of Few Minutes show yesterday and today, and he's looking forward to the rest of the week. Thank you very much. I think Frank is being funny. He says he'd be more interested in the headphones at $425 than $549. Okay, it's kind of funny. Matthew's worried about on them. Yeah, okay. I don't think they're for running though. I mean, yeah, people obviously they're portable and you can wear them outside. And I'm not saying you're asking for it if you do that, but the impression that I get, well, I don't know. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Then again, you could say the same thing. People did say the same thing back in the day about the iPhone, didn't they? And the earbuds that went with the iPhone and the iPod. I think I repeated myself there. Can they come with a security camera? John says, can they come with a security camera? Sure, John. It's called your iPhone. Matthew says maybe the release of such a high-end product signals that Apple may know that a new Corona Bucks check will be issued sooner than later. I don't think so. I think this is independent of that. I mean, that's possible, but I think this is independent of that. Also, I don't think anybody knows anything about Washington at this point because, man, that place is nuts. Don't take DuPont Circle. Is that right? That's the only thing people can say for certain. And it's going to be busy around there the 20th, 21st, 22nd of January. No, see, Webb bringing up the Pro Display XDR, which I think was before I brought up the Pro Display XDR. That's funny. Matthew, you're not wrong. Matthew says, I'll bet somebody will try to shame Apple for releasing such a product at that kind of privileged price during such a trying time for the nation economically in many places because it's obscene. I'm not going to try to shame them on it because it's what I was talking about a minute ago. I mean, there is something obscene about it, but jewelers did not go out of business during the Great Depression, did they? There were big fancy cars that were made during the Great Depression because some people will continue to have money and some people won't. And some people will throw it around and some people won't. Some people invest it, some people won't, and some people will flaunt it. You're not wrong. I don't remember what luxury goods came out in 2008 or 2000 yeah, 2008, 2009. I know that Apple released a new iPhone every year in those times. And I'm not saying that the iPhone is the same thing as a $549 pair of headphones, but there would be people who would argue that it was. It's obscene, and yet, it's also the way of the world. And you can argue about that. Bill, are you saying $300 more than what Apple is asking today? Bill says, by contrast, my excessively expensive headset that I use in an airplane is about $300 more. You mean $300 more than the AirPods Pro Max, whatever the heck it's called, the AirPods Max? Wow. Okay. Wow. All right. See, I wonder. So then for you, Bill, the AirPods Pro Max, why am I going to call them AirPods Pro? The AirPods Max might be a bargain. Bose A20 aviation headset. When you say you use them in an airplane, do you mean you use them to block out the noise of the airplane, or do you mean you use them? Do you fly airplanes? And I'm not being funny. I don't know. Found out recently that a friend of mine flies jets. Okay, really? How did I not know that? Head ID authentication. A pilot headset. Okay, well then that's a work expense. And no, I don't think you should use the AirPods Max for that. Because Bluetooth. Am I right? Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if that is immaterial, Paul. I mean, it is and it isn't. That's the kind of thing though that'll make you sit down and cry. That's the kind of thing that'll make your head hurt. Paul says there are people with money for this, and that's fine. There are also millions of Americans who can't eat right now who could 1 year ago. I know that's immaterial, but there it is. And it's not immaterial. I mean, it is. It is. I mean, that's the thing. It is and it isn't. Right? It's kind of horrible when you stop to think about it. So what we do is we don't stop to think about it. And I'm not saying that's right. I do think, though, that's what we do. That's kind of a bummer way to end. Does anybody know a joke? I know several, but you've heard me talk enough. Brian's got a joke. All right, Brian, let's hear it. Well, hear it. I'll tell it to everybody else. Except they can all read it, too. I'm beginning to doubt that Brian is actually doing a joke. No, you didn't ruin anything, Paul. You didn't. Haha. Brian gets the last word, everybody. Here's Brian's joke. Two hats were sitting on a hat rack. The first one says to the other one, "You stay here. I'll go on ahead." Brian, everybody. Thank you, Brian. I already forgot about Paul ruining everything now. See, that was wonderful. All right. As Johnny Fever used to say, all right, fellow babies, I'm out of here. Wonderful to see you all. Thank you very much. I hope you'll be here tomorrow. I know I will. And yeah, macOS Cat and all the fun stuff. Take care.